Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the Knights of Prospect, a Dungeon World actual play starring the people you see on your screen. Here, hosted on 2MB Studios, we are a fantasy adventure using the Dungeon World system, and we are currently in the midst of a big adventure where everything is happening all of the time. My name is Rob Mulligan. I am playing one of two bards that are playing tonight, Ronaldo Francis Mackay IV, a foppish noble, decent duelist, and also his father is definitely evil. Winnie, who are you?
Wow. Well, I am the other bard. I'm Winnie, no last name. Realizing that now. But that's okay, because she is a little bit estranged from her family ever since she stole her sister's bardic powers, but it's okay. She's very nice 99% of the time. Yeah. I
forgot about that. That's right.
Well, now she's just so wonderful and virtuous all the time. Definitely does not harbor a secret on as to who is going to cause the end of things in the future. So yeah,
definitely learned her lesson and is playing it straight the rest of the way.
On the good path.
Yes. The voice you're hearing now is Ryan Daly playing Corey Shitbeard, Dwarven Legionary and the puncher of the group.
Yes.
The one who can go in, take damage, not say much, be generally bristly, and I hate magic. So there we go.
She's in good company.
That's Gregory. My name is Kaylee Kane, and I will be playing Vil, the Forest Revenant, formerly Vil, the Ranger. Same Vil, different lifetime. Vil sacrificed herself and then was brought back to life by the Forest of Imlan. And I'm still the archer. That's my role in the group. Good with the bow, not so good with words. And
really expecting a rhyme there, but you pulled through. you fulfilled that promise.
Yeah.
It is the promise I make to you, our audience, and I'm best friends with a duck named Hobie, and that's my story.
That's pretty good stories all around. And my name's John Serpico. I'm the game master, so it's my job to keep everyone busy and give everyone big, important choices they could make. One thing that's very interesting about this game is so much of it is kind of left to improvisation and the chance of the dice. So one thing that's great about this group in particular, they're not afraid of making big consequential choices. So that's really fun. So I give them things to choose and then they choose them in a big way. So in terms of kind of catching everybody up, this is session 29. We are well over half a year. Congratulations, everybody.
You did it.
And you did it. And the story with these Knights of Prospect is this in a quick summation. So this group is part of a order of knights called the Knights of Prospect. They are responsible for defending Tower Town and the Riverlands generally from all sorts of threats. They are currently not in Tower Town or the Riverlands. They are across an ocean because they were essentially all teleported away to avoid a great cataclysm. There is a powerful mage named Tobias who teleported all of them away, and now they're on this plateau kind of planning their return to Tower Town to fight whatever it is. Whatever it is to be fought when they get back to their hometown. So right now they're all in kind of the planning phase for whatever this is. And so if this is your first time watching or listening, because we're also a podcast, find us where you find your podcasts, Knights of Prospect. This is a very good one because they're kind of in the middle of something, but everything that they're doing are these kind of standalone and very, very important things. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add in terms of current events that might might enrich the experience for everybody?
Hmm.
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 Mm.
Hmm.
Now, that's all my current events for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Let's take all of us back to the plateau of Technus, which is this holy site that is in the theocracy of Enteresh. That's the country you're all in now. And you've now been here for a couple of weeks working closely with Tobias, who, even though Tobias is not in the Knights of Prospect, he is a friend of the Knights of Prospect. And part of what he needs to do is essentially destroy or conquer a clone of his named Akka, who is currently in Tower Town. The big trick is you're all kind of planning for something that you don't know what it is. All of the old Knights of Prospect, who are all here, were teleported here to save them from a calamity that Tobias's partner in this endeavor, Sister Ix, predicted. And you all, the new Knights of Prospect, found them. So you're all here. All the Knights of Prospect are together. Some of you new Knights of Prospect entered a place called the Cavern of Sages, in which there were lots and lots of ancient prophecies that essentially confirmed Tobias and Sister Ix's story. So pretty much everybody here, whether you were just made a Knight of Prospect a few weeks ago, which you all were, or whether you've been in the Knights of Prospect for years and years and years, are all united in purpose. All of you, plus Sister Ix, plus Tobias, think that something terrible is going to happen to Tower Town, your home. And so you're all here kind of working with this master plan to prepare for all of these things. But the problem is you don't really know what you're preparing for. Tobias gathers everybody together one morning when everyone's kind of back from all of their missions and kind of lays out the three-step process here, which the first step is that everyone, you're kind of doing it now, which is everyone here needs to be gathering equipment and supplies, very specific things, magical things, people, personnel, ships, things like that. So step one is essentially preparing for all these eventualities. Step two is that Sister Ix is trying to scry or kind of have far sight over Tower Town to get a sense of what this calamity might be. So you're kind of preparing for everything, and hopefully Sister Ix can narrow it down by the time you're done preparing. And then the final step is all of you are going to return to Tower Town. You're going to oust Archmage Akka and prepare to face whatever calamity is coming. Because as bad as it is that Tobias's clone, Archmage Akka, is in Tower Town and doing heaven knows what while you're all gone, you don't think that's the calamity. You think that you need to take care of him before you get to whatever the calamity is. So you've got a lot of bad stuff stacked on top of each other right now. And so that's really kind of the precursor. This is what, Tobias lays out for everybody. And, you all kind of knew this already, but to hear the steps laid out is very, very helpful. But yeah, you're all gathered around, and Tobias is pointing out things on a map, and all the various other knights are checking in and saying, oh, well, I was able to secure, this one thing from this person. Oh, yeah, we've got 20 mercenaries from this company, and they're going to meet us in the docks in Sepulchre City. Like, you're getting all of these, like, very tactical updates. And so it's very clear that whatever it is you're preparing for, you will hopefully be very well prepared. But Tobias kind of looks around and says, well, the work everyone has been doing is not only important, but done ably, as I would expect from knights of your caliber. Does anyone have any questions as to where we are right now and what we're working on?
Oh, I do. What has Sister Ix seen of Tower Town since we've left? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, there are no Knights of Prospect there. So I don't know if it seems as though no calamity has fallen yet, but that doesn't mean bad things couldn't currently be happening.
Sister Ix steps forward and says, "That's a very astute question, Ronaldo. Bear with me for a moment." She pours. There's in the middle of the plateau. There's this kind of like little indentation, and into it, a number of other mages here kind of pour kind of bucket and bucket and bucket of water into it, and Sister Ix kind of sits cross-legged in front of it and begins chanting. And this image kind of forms in the water. And what you see is this. In Tower Town, your hometown, Archmage Basia, who's the current governor of Tower Town, stands before the city's ruling council. And it's a collection of wizards and nobles of ancient lineage, all assembled at this long table in this imposing room somewhere. And Basia speaks, and you can actually hear it, which means that Sister Ix is very, very good at scrying. So Archmage Basia, in charge of Tower Town, says, "I thank you all for attending this emergency meeting of the council on such short notice. With the attack on Etama and the disappearance of the Knights of Prospect, including Spitzfoot, who sits on this council as captain of defense, we find ourselves very vulnerable. It is my job as Archmage of the Tower and ruler of this city to determine the best way to eliminate this vulnerability. We have been given a great gift recently in the form of an old friend who was freed from the grips of the Obsidian Plane, and I intend to use this gift. Archmage Akka, I am raising you as our new captain of defense for Tower Town. The resources of the Silver Helmets are yours to command." Archmage Akka, who is the clone of Tobias, rises. He kind of looks at everybody. And Ronaldo, your family is notably absent from this table.
That's good.
Archmage Akka, kind of looking resplendent in his robes, kind of lets the weight of the moment hang and then says, "Friends, wizards, noble families, there are threats here, foreign and domestic, and I will do everything in my power to stop those threats from interfering with our way of life. I promise you this. Everything in my power." And then the image fades away. And so Sister Ix kind of like mops her brow. "I believe that was either this morning or last night. The problem is I have a lot of trouble seeing into the future. The sense I get is now that Akka is the captain of the defense. He is using some of the powerful magics of the tower to prevent, well, me or people with my gift from seeing the future and seeing what he might be doing. Actually, I could all use your help with something." Sister Ix kind of takes a measure of the group and then pulls specifically you four aside, Ronaldo, Winnie, Vil, and Gregory. And you all kind of move into one of the tents that's on this plateau while Tobias, the good one, continues to get questions from the rest of the group. And so Sister Ix kind of pulls you all aside into a tent and says, "Well, Ronaldo, your question was well-founded, and it got me thinking. There is a magical relic. It's called the Gleaming Mirror that could allow me to potentially pinpoint certain events in the future, what that calamity might be, for instance. Its last known location was that it was in the collection of an order of monks to the north of this plateau. I was hoping that you could come with me. I'd like to petition the monks, secure the use of the Gleaming Mirror, and see if I can use its power combined with my skill to punch through this protective barrier that Akka has put up."
What does petition the monks entail?
That's a very good question. So I'm going to turn it to all of you. I want one of you to name these monks. What is the name of this order of monks?
The Croftian Order.
Croftian Order. And what makes these monks famous in this area?
They hand embroider small beaded bags. They do other things, but that is what they are most well known for.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they like sustain their monastery.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
They make a good bag.
Make a great bag.
Great.
And let's just add one more thing on top of this. Someone describe their monastery, where it is, what it looks like.
It's actually one single tower, but it rises high into the sky. And to reach where the monks actually are, you have to climb the stairs. There's no other way. And it takes what feels like an eternity. And they use that to judge who is worthy of speaking with them.
That is perfect. So the Croftian Order, they sustain their order with these kind of handcrafts. They are an incredibly patient order, and they've been around for a long time. Kind of one of their side jobs, so to speak, is that they have a reliquary. The tower houses this reliquary, and it's kind of their job to protect it.
Would someone tell me what a reliquary is?
So it's a collection. It's kind of a secure collection of artifacts and usually religious items as well.
Oh,
So
relics.
Yeah.
I see.
Typical human superstition.
Yeah. So Sister Ix kind of brings you up to speed on all of this. The Croftian Order, what a reliquary is, where it sits in the tower, all of those things. And Sister Ix says they're not secretive. In fact, there's a little trade village around the base of the tower where they sell their crafts, trade for other things. But to actually enter the tower and make a request of them, you do indeed have to climb many stairs and show up with a good story. A good story, I believe, that I have in the form of, saving the Riverlands. So I would like you all to accompany me and provide assistance, guidance, not just as Knights of Prospect, but as people with your specific skills.
Well, let's go. I don't feel like we have much time to waste.
Yeah, you don't. So you all head north, and it is a rather peaceful ride. You all have horses, and the thing about the theocracy of Enteresh, where you are now, is very different than the Riverlands. The Riverlands, there are towns on every hilltop and winding rivers and ancient forests and all of these things. The theocracy of Enteresh is just empty. It's one of those things where there's this big city, Sepulchre City, and then there's another big city called Penance Harbor. But aside from those two things, and they're both on the coast, most of the time it's just empty fields, not even like farmed fields, just empty rolling fields. So you're kind of riding under big empty sky. You occasionally will see a copse of trees. It's you're all, it's one of those things where you're all kind of city folk, except for you, Vil, but you find this unnerving because there just aren't any trees anywhere. Like it's just empty space. So, you're riding and, you're kind of a few days in and, you've got a few more days to go when Sister Ix, Sister Ix is kind of not necessarily in charge. Like Vil, you're essentially in charge of kind of guiding everyone because you have your skills. But Sister Ix kind of asks you. She kind of pulls you aside on one horse and said, instead of stopping just at sundown, could we stop a little bit before tonight?
Why?
Oh, well, I'd like to talk to you all, actually.
We will make slower time if we stop before sundown. Perhaps we should talk while on horseback.
Okay, that's a very fair point. And so she kind of calls out to everybody. Can I have everyone's attention?
Everyone, Sister Ix would like to talk.
Oh, all right. Yep.
It's time to talk. Please move your horse closer.
Okay.
Oh, someone gave Vil some power.
It's time to talk. Winnie, it's not time for you to talk. It's time for Sister Ix to talk. She will tell you when it's time for you to talk. Does
Yeah,
everyone
Winnie.
understand?
Understood, Vil.
Thank
Very
you.
understandable.
Got you, Captain Phil. Let's go.
Keep the pace.
Thank you, Vil, for turning the floor over to me.
You have everyone's attention, Sister Ix.
I appreciate that, Vil. Thank you. Well, I just wanted to gather everyone around and say thank you all. Thank you to you as new Knights of Prospect and as part of the Knights of Prospect.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
Sister Ix, you wanted to stop before sundown tonight so that you could say thank you to all of us?
Yes, I actually also brought a cake.
A cake?
Which will not be inconvenient at all to eat on horseback.
It's not the first time I've eaten a cake on horseback, but it is at least the second time I've eaten a cake on horseback.
Gregory, what do you think about stopping early for cake?
I think it foolhardy.
Well, Sister Ix has brought a cake.
All those in favor of stopping for cake, say aye. Looks like you're outnumbered, Vil. Sorry.
Eyes have it.
We will stop before sundown for cake. Before then, we keep pace.
And so you do. And the ride is the ride's a good one. And like just before sundown, Vil gives the order to stop, and so she gathers everyone around, and you stoke a fire, and she has this yellow cake wrapped in parchment that she kind of starts cutting up and handing out. And her voice is a little now. Sister Ix, to kind of paint a picture, is an elf of indeterminate age. She's got golden tattoos all up and down her arm. She carries herself with a tremendous bearing. And it's very clear that she is an incredibly powerful sorcerer. But in this moment, she's like a little halting. And so she kind of like gathers herself for a second and says, the reason why I wanted to thank you all is because you all have given me purpose. I can use my...
Oh, I'm sorry. You had more.
Well, I can use my craft for some greater good.
Were you just a roadside soothsayer saying sooth for money before that? What it seems like having a gift like this would constantly have purpose.
Well, it wasn't good purpose.
So bad purpose.
Yes. I'm from an elven enclave far, far to the east near Sentinel. And I left my village when my abilities manifest, and I did exactly what you said, Gregory. I was a roadside soothsayer and made my money until the son of an ambitious baron noticed me, and all of a sudden I started plying my craft, and that ambitious son of a baron suddenly became an ambitious baron, and all of a sudden the barony of Hyvek rose to power, and I am partially, if not entirely, responsible. The word Hyvek Barony kind of rattles around in your head for a second. The Hyvek Barony is like a distant place. Like it's way north of here. It's like super far away. It's another country. And it's the newest country that you know of. Because about 30 years ago, there was a horrible, vicious war. And the Hyvek Barony kind of sprung into existence after it kind of gathered a bunch of land together, in really violent, grotesque fashion. Like the stories you've heard, Ronaldo and Winnie, like the songs you've sung about like the fall of Western Catavia and the rise of the barony. It's all literally stories of how essentially the bad guy won. And Sister X is essentially saying that she helped the bad guy win. And she kind of recounts some of this to you. Like she doesn't want to go into too many details. But she suffices to say, I looked in the heart of the Baron and I saw nothing but darkness there, and I could see his future, and it will be nothing but blood and pain for the rest of his life. I do not see any of that in your futures, Ronaldo, Winnie, Vil, Gregory. Which means I'm on the right side of something.
If you could see that before, and you are now having this moral issue, why did you, if you had all of the information to know everything you were about to do was wrong, why did you do it?
It's not so easy to deny someone who's taking advantage of you, Ronaldo.
And also the moralities of personal decision-making are complex and shrouded by emotions and troublesome relationships and often shame. Sister Ix, as someone who has come from... As someone who is only here because of choices that she made that hurt those who were closest to her, but has, I think, overcome and made up for those early choices. I understand a path to redemption is a hard and lonely road, but it is admirable that you are pursuing it.
Sister Ix, I have hurt many people at the order of men with ill intentions. You and I have much in common, and one thing I've learned is that no one else can give you a purpose. It's something that you choose for yourself. And I think you've chosen a good one here.
Those are sage words, Revenant. Thank you. Sister Ix, like a lot of her kind of noble bearing, is born of the fact that she never really seems surprised by anything. This almost perpetual prescience about what someone's about to say. But Vil, when you kind of say those words to her, she kind of pauses for a moment and takes them in as if she's hearing them for the first time. I will ponder what you've said, Vil, and everyone else as well. These are fair points all. But I feel like I'm in the right place. And I'm glad that there is a right place for me to be.
What sort of a name is Sister?
The Elven enclave that I came from has a greater than average chance of giving rise to clairvoyance like myself. Everyone from this village, from this enclave of mine that can see the future, is given the title of Sister and sent out of the village to train with others of our kind before we eventually wander forth from the enclave. The enclave itself doesn't use any of our power. The elders of the village do not want their decisions tainted by thoughts of the future. They want to very much live in the present. So my birth and life and work is something of a great painful irony that I wish I could help my village and I can't. So I'm a sister in the Order of Clairvoyance of the Enclave. You don't have to call me sister if you don't want to, but everyone seems to.
I'll call you whatever you want to be called.
Then Sisterix it is.
Hell of a way to treat family.
Well, what of your traditions then? Do your family, do your people do anything that you find strange or off-putting to you?
Yes, Gregory, tell us of your family traditions, please.
What's to say? You grow up, you either go into an engineering or mining or one of the crafts or in defense, as I did. I trained as a legionary in the Gemini Army, and when my service was up, I went to Vor because, well, my time was up. I have a mother. I have sibling. I have a father. When I see them, we say hello. We have a meal. I tour the town. Remember the good old days. And then I leave.
Gregory, I've always wondered something.
Mm.
Have you been in love?
With another. I've loved things.
That's definitely a yes. I think.
Gregory, you have another slice of cake. Tell us.
I'm not a prophet.
All right,
We're in the present. We are here in the presence of a soothsaying prophet, and you want to talk to me about grade school crushes?
I didn't. Well, first of all, I didn't know the dwarves had grade school, so that's the most interesting news.
How else will we learn calculus?
That's fair.
Sister Ix in this conversation says nothing. She just observes you, Gregory, and she gives you a look that is surprisingly precise when you interpret it, which Sister Ix essentially says in your mind, do you wish to know about Trundo?
Aye.
Sister Ix, in a very kind of smooth way, starts speaking a little abstractly about family and tradition, and she says, "Well, one thing that I've learned is that you must be, when you look into the future, you must be very prepared for your past to visit, unexpectedly and at inconvenient times. And sometimes when the past visits, you need to be prepared to act very quickly and very decisively without overthinking it. Because sometimes if you don't take advantage of these temporary partings of the clouds, the opportunity goes away forever."
I see.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
I was speaking in generalities, she says to everyone, and then looks at you, Gregory, for a second.
It's like when I saw my sister, it was pure happenstance, and in that moment, if I had decided not to reconcile, we may never have spoken again, but I took advantage of the opportunity, and...
That is precisely it. May we all be so lucky as to be presented with those tiny slivers of opportunity. The cake, by the way, is very good.
Yes, the cake is
I'll have one
delightful.
bite.
You do, Gregory, and as you eat, your thoughts can't help but drift back to to someone you once knew many decades ago, and what you would say to her if she walked into your life again. The stop before sunset was, it very quickly becomes sunset, and you set up camp, and like all of the nights previous, you hear almost nothing from the surrounding area. It's literally just fireflies in the distance.
Winnie, could I speak with you in private really quick?
Ronaldo, do you need to speak with me in private?
I do not. I need to ask Winnie a question. A bard
Okay.
question.
Oh, a bard question. Well, I'm overseeing the setup of camp, so if you have anything to wonder
No.
to me. Oh,
I'll
no.
be busy not caring about that.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Um,
What?
So I like shift off away from the group. I am no longer suspicious of Tobias. However, the line between a soothsayer and an illusionist is very thin. And if she says she sees no darkness in our future, we know that's a lie. Because we know for a fact one of us with us has darkness in their future.
Well, maybe what she sees will change once we get what we're on a journey for. Maybe she can only see things clouded by whatever is interfering from Tower Town. And also, Ronaldo, maybe we succeed. Maybe everything turns out all right. It's possible.
I hope so. I just don't. We saw what should be the future in the cavern we went into. If that's a lie, or she's lying, or something isn't right, something isn't connecting for me, and I don't know what it is. I didn't trust Tobias. That made me trust Tobias. The things she are saying seem light on detail, but also strong on magic. And I know for a fact deception and scrying can be used very much the same way as illusion can. So I need someone else to keep their eyes open.
Of course, I will.
I trust the rest of the group to basically already be on alert. But knowing what we know, I figured it's important that we can't fully let our guard down.
I can't lie and say that that some part of me doesn't inherently trust Sister Ix, but I understand your need for caution. So I will attempt to set aside my own instincts in this moment and trust a higher knowledge of things that we possess, which is that things won't necessarily turn out all good in the end.
We know that one of us, among us, is also the great calamity that we're preventing, right? Or
Yes.
at least somehow related. So, I just needed to air it to somebody.
Thank you for airing it to me.
Of course. We should probably go back and actually set up camp before
Sure.
Bill punches us in the head.
She's probably already done, knowing her.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, she is.
Camp is set up. I will take the first watch. Please get rest. We will rise at dawn.
Of course.
And so, Vil, you and Hobie do indeed take the first watch, and though Hobie doesn't say anything, you can tell that Hobie is very, very happy to be on watch with you.
You're not very talkative tonight. It is. I don't like being so out in the open. I wish there was some trees around, but
All right.
it was good cake. You're right.
All right.
I just don't like stopping early. I'm anxious to get where we're going and anxious to get back. And I'm anxious. I'm just feeling a little anxious. You know, it's fine. My head's in the game and I'm focused. And I am ready for whatever comes our way, as usual.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
Right.
Another day starts tomorrow.
And another day does indeed start. And you keep riding on. Sister Ix, you're about a day away when Sister Ix starts looking distracted to the point where she asks you to stop again. And she draws up a ritual circle, and she's very apologetic about it. And she kind of draws up a ritual circle and pours some water and tries to get a sense of things.
No more cake. This is a ritual. This is a cake
rit-
ritual.
There's something wrong with the Croftian Tower. There's something wrong with the monks.
Well, should we hurry then?
Yes, we should. We should. And so you get up and you ride kind of hard, like you take your horses kind of up to a pretty quick canter for several hours, and it becomes ultimately a kind of a hard ride. And you were supposed to get to the monks kind of the evening of one of the days. You end up getting there in the middle of the day. And from a hill, you see the tower in the distance, about 5 or 6 stories, big, wide, squat, square tower.
Wow.
But it looks different than how Sister Ix has laid it out. That is to say, it was, kind of a big squat tower in fine repair with kind of this small little city of like tents and temporary buildings in front of it. The tents are gone. And the tower looks like it's in disrepair. Like, that is to say, like, there's damage to it around some of the windows. It looks like there was a fire somewhere. Yeah.
So are the monks up there? Can you tell? Is that the kind of thing you can?
If I had time, maybe, but I would trust all of your eyes over my gift right now. Okay. Ronaldo, Winnie, Vil, and Gregory. One thing is for sure. The Croftian monks are not here. So I want each of you to just give me a sentence as to what is here that you can tell.
The fields and the even though this is plains, are extremely abnormally overgrown.
Although it looked like the tower was taken by fire, it looks like it has been taken over by growth, vegetation, even more recently.
From a distance, it looks like all of those auxiliary buildings around it are just not there. But a lot of them have been overgrown by grass and vines, just swallowed by the vegetation.
There are lots of footprints and marks from wheels heading in the direction of the western road. But if it weren't for the mild weather here, it looks like those would have been gone long ago. They're very old, already starting to crumble and packed in.
Yeah, that's very weird. Very, very, very weird. Yeah, an arguably unnatural amount of growth has taken over this monastery. And, well, more than that, I leave up to you to figure out. So, what do folks want to do?
At the top of the monastery, from what I can see, is there any overgrowth, any vegetation that has accumulated in a tree, say a tree perhaps as wide as me?
Yeah. There's closer. You're kind of on a hill overlooking it, but closer to it, there is a rather tall tree that you can get up into.
At the top of the tower?
At the top of the tower. Well, do you want there to be?
Yes.
There is.
Make quick work of this. I'm just going to check out the top of the tower, everybody, and make sure that it's empty before returning back to you.
Okay.
I'll go with you.
Not possible, but thank you for the offer. Is there a tree very close by, Game Master?
There is.
I'll step right into that one and head to the tree on the top of the tower.
Vil, describe what this looks like to everyone.
Well, with the tree closest, I expect it looks like what I've said. I'm going to step into the tree. I've never watched myself do it, but it would probably look like the tree is sort of absorbing me, like an embrace, like my body is becoming part of the tree. And if you look closely at the one I'm pointing to on the top of the tower, then it would look like that tree is recreating my body on the other side.
That's new.
Show off. All right.
Yeah. So, Vil, you kind of walk through and emerge on the roof here. So
Yes.
let's have you roll to discern realities. 2d6 plus your wisdom.
Oh. 5.
Okay. Now that's a failure. Normally I would normally you wouldn't be able to ask any questions, but I will instead give you one question. It's just the answer is going to be bad. So what question would you like to ask?
The question I would like to ask is what should I be on the lookout for?
Dryads. Angry, incensed dryads. At roughly this moment, you hear a great rustling somewhere below you. Like the sound of wood scraping against stone.
I've determined that this is not a task I should take on alone. I am going to step back into the tree from which I came and back to my party on the ground.
And you do. There you are.
How was your tree?
That's new.
Yes, that is new. Thank you for noticing. Dryads. Yes. There are dryads atop the tower.
Oh, fun.
Angry.
Well,
So
I don't think that those with even tempers would have caused this much destruction. So,
if any of the legends are true, dryads hold a grudge for basically millions of years. So
together then.
together.
When was the last time anyone that you know of has heard from these monks? How recent could this be?
Well, they don't travel far from home, but I believe it was Juniper, one of the other mages I worked with, visited them probably a year or two ago.
Year or two. This looks like decades.
Well, I don't necessarily know the work of dryads, but...
Nor I. Vil, this seems like your kind of territory.
maybe we can reason with them.
Oh, I don't think there will be any reasoning with them. My guess is that they've made quick work of overgrowing this tower, and I expect there will be a lot of them in there.
Well,
Each of you roll 2d6 plus your dexterity right now and tell me what you get.
The naturally flat-footed Ronaldo rolled a 5.
7.
12 for me.
And a 7 minus 1, which is my dexterity, so 6.
Ronaldo, it is. Ronaldo, you're all kind of standing around, or you're kind of atop horses, and as you're Ronaldo kind of laying all of this out, you are like rocked violently to the side and kind of thrown from your horse. You instinctually like protect your head because you think you're flying off the horse into the ground, but you are kind of caught mid-air by a vine shooting up out of the ground. It wraps its way around your waist and slams you like a hammer into the ground for 6 damage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, let's reason with them, Winnie. Good idea.
Well,
I jump down and immediately start trying to pull the vines apart.
Yeah,
Fuck this.
Gregory, like you dismount and you start kind of ripping the vines apart with your big armored gloves. There are in the distance and kind of, well, probably the best way to describe it would be gliding towards you. Half a dozen kind of tall green dryads with kind of flowing mane of green leaves, kind of green grassy bodies, kind of deep red eyes. Now, Vil, you've seen dryads like a couple of times. They are very rare things to see out in the world. They're not supposed to have red eyes, though. And so they're all kind of just gliding towards you, like walking, but also it's as if a breeze is blowing them. And they're, kind of closing distance. So
I would like to unleash Metal Hurlant on all of them that I can see. So I kind of tell you all to block your ears and tap into a piercing noise that I have practiced at great length to attempt to damage and briefly deafen the dryads.
all right.
So diplomacy failed then.
2d6 plus your constitution.
What'd you say?
Constitution.
Gregory, I saw your mouth move, but I don't know what you said.
10. So that means that they take 1d10 damage and are deafened for a few minutes. So
I
that
said
will be-
diplomacy has failed.
All right. What'd you get?
Just
The buoyancy is red?
5 damage each.
What?
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 It's all over.
Can we?
Oh, okay.
What?
Vil, unblock your ears. You're
We're
good. You're
done.
good.
We're
You can-
good.
Yes, it's all gone.
I draw my bow.
You draw your bow. So here's what happens is they all start kind of gliding towards you. One of them kind of like as they're kind of running / gliding, one of them kind of stops and plunges a hand into the ground, and Sister Ix is then pulled down off her horse.
Oh,
She gets kind of slammed into the ground hard. At this point, Winnie kind of steps forward, gets big, and delivers this like deafening wall of magical sound that that essentially rips leaves and branches out of these dryads. They're like kind of reduced in size and twisted, which makes them look even stranger as they continue on. Vil, you draw your bow. What do you want to do?
I'd like to loose an arrow at the nearest dryad.
All right, roll it. Tell me what you get.
Yes. 9.
Okay, and do your damage.
That will be an 8.
Okay, that is enough to take down one of them.
Well
You are hit with a kind of a lash from a vine that kind of shoots up out of the ground for 4 damage.
Oh.
But yeah, Vil, you kind of line up a shot, and Gregory, you notice this because you're getting into battle position yourself. Right before Vil looses the arrow, she just closes her eyes. And the arrow zips through the air and hits a dryad dead center mass, and the dryad kind of splits apart like an old tree. And there are 5 more coming and approaching quick. Who wants to go next?
Well, I'm not going to do much from a distance, so Ix is down. I'm going to defend Ix.
Gotcha. So, Gregory, you are going to defend Ix. That works for me. Let's have one of these things actually descend on Ix here. So I want you to roll, Gregory, your hack and slash. Tell me what you got.
Well, it's hack and slash is plus strength, so we have a 10.
All right, no problem. Do your damage.
All righto. Let's see what this weapon. It is I believe it's 1d6. Yes. 1d6. That's not a d6. 5. Wait.
Gotcha.
No, 2. Sorry. I'm reading this wrong.
2d4 plus 2.
2d4 plus 2. Very good. Thank you.
Much better.
Too many dice in front of me. All right. So that is a 6.
Gotcha. Okay. So that is, you think it would be enough. Like essentially this dryad kind of moves towards you and then gets very big, kind of extending out. It looks as if you're watching a tree grow at 1,000 times speed. Like it gets big and it kind of branches out, and you kind of grab at its middle and try to snap it in half. You end up kind of splitting it open, but it's still alive, such as it is. And now kind of the two of you are tussling around. Ix stands up and as the two of you are fighting, Ix says, I'm told you hate magic. Should I help you or someone else?
Now's as good a time as any. Come on.
Okay. Ix kind of gets right behind you. Like you're kind of fighting and rolling, and Ix kind of gets behind you and takes a knee, and you don't think it's in Dwarvish, but she's just speaking whatever. You're not translating what she's saying in your head. It's as if she's speaking directly to the part of your mind that governs your actions. And she literally is saying, left, down, now parry and riposte that. Okay, go for the leg now. And you just are instinctually doing it, and you tear this thing down into firewood in 5 seconds. And you turn and look at Ix, and she's like, there's like just like a thin bead of sweat like coming down her head, and she's like, good, very good. Okay, and then she kind of runs into the battle. Who wants to go next?
Are there any close to us, or they're all charging at us still? The remainders.
Deal with choice. There are 4. Kind of one branched off and attacked Gregory and Ix. Another Vil put down at distance. If you want to act before they hit you, now's the time.
Yeah, I do.
Wait. Yeah,
I do. As they're approaching us, I want to draw my rapier and assume a combat position and use my ability Manual of Movement to try and discern something about the way they fight and move.
Gotcha. Roll it.
Woo! That's a 5. I do not know anything about how they're moving.
They don't have weapons. Their arms don't stay in the same place. They are attached to the ground, but it's not like you can follow their feet. Oh, this is a tough nut to crack.
Oh boy!
But it's your best instinct is keep steel between me and them. Okay, I think that's everybody. So we'll start at the top again. I think that's Winnie.
Sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try again with Metal Hurlant this time, and the dryad closest to me.
Mhm.
I'm going to try to get them to attack their nearest ally.
It goes to 11.
Yes. Did I say it? I said it. Did I say that? Okay.
Metal Hurlant, which is still a
Oh.
great choice.
I
But
meant
yeah, let's
it goes to 11.
sure. It goes to 11, 2d6 plus your charisma.
All right. 9.
All right. So you kind of plant again, and with Metal Hurlant, you just create volume. You just create lots and lots of magical volume, like you're hitting them with a tidal wave. With it goes to 11. It's a different skill altogether. You're singing directly to a person, and it's almost like you're talking to them.
Kill them, kill them, kill them, kill them near you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one of the dryads is kind of descending on you, and you start kind of singing, and it stops and kind of stiffens up. And every time you do this to someone, the end result is that everyone else sees the absolute destruction of their psyche for half a second, which is unnerving if this was happening to people you liked instead of big evil tree folk. But yeah, like the dryad kind of comes in, then like stiffens up, immediately turns, and kind of shoots themselves towards another dryad, and they begin kind of tangling and tumbling together. And the dryad that you've convinced to do this lets out this like guttural scream that sounds like branches splitting as it starts ripping the other dryad apart. We're down to 3. Who's next? I think that's Vil.
Yes, I'll take another shot with my arrow. I'm going to have Hobie distract one of them while I take it.
All right, go for it.
That is another 9.
Gotcha. You take 5 damage on the return hit. But yeah, Hobie kind of flies up and over. The dryad kind of leans back to try to grab Hobie out of the air, and you put an arrow kind of up into the knot of wooden leaves that you think is its head, and it kind of falls backwards, and with kind of a final lash strikes you kind of in the middle, and you kind of fall backwards. Gregory, you're up.
Well, I suppose one of them must have gotten pretty close at this point. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, so let's pull another one apart.
All right, go for it.
So that is a 6.
Oh, okay. So you kind of charge forward and start kind of grappling with one of them. And then the second one kind of pops up behind you. Like, in essence, you thought you were attacking one, but they were, in fact, 2, and they kind of split apart. And you just find yourself kind of surrounded in angry, scratching shrubbery. You take 5 damage. And you're now just kind of wrestling them apart. Sister Ix kind of is pondering the situation here, and is able to, Gregory shout now at one moment, and you just take that to mean I should roll out of here, and you do. So the sense you got is they were trying to drag you underground. But you kind of roll out of the way and kind of get yourself steady. And kind of all of you cluster up. We won't roll out the next round of this. There are 2 of them left and 4 of you. And, with kind of Sister Ix, Sister Ix kind of calling out things. Ronaldo, you kind of wade in and end up essentially slicing the branches off one of them, and it's you don't have a wood axe, but this is a well-made rapier, and you realize you're kind of attacking its life force, if nothing else. And so you end up kind of stabbing one into pieces.
Mhm.
And the rest of you, while you watch a rather expert display of swordsmanship from Ronaldo, kind of descend on the other one and break it apart.
I wish I had brought my saber.
So you're kind of bloodied and bruised by all of this. Sister Ix kind of looks ahead and says, "Okay. Well, I hope that was all of them." She
I
said,
hope so too. Who's hurt?
um,
Who's hurt? Everybody.
Sister Ix
Ronaldo.
I know.
doesn't seem to hear you, but she takes a step forward and then falls to a knee and then falls to her side.
What? What?
Ix is hurt.
Oh,
I'll bring her the muddled sneeze grass then.
I can heal her. I use my arcane art.
Well, I'm sure muddled sneeze grass is just as good as
They
magic healing.
I would like to assist using arcane art as well.
Well, then I would like to rub my muddled sneeze grass on Gregory's wounds.
Vil, does this muddled sneeze grass smell great or not?
Terrible. It smells bad. It's called sneeze grass because it looks like what happens when you sneeze.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, and with Ronaldo assisting, that bumps it to an 8. That is enough for stabilizing Sister Ix. Gregory, this smells just awful. Not only
It
does it smell
smells
bad,
and it stings.
It's not great. She'll often just throw it on you without asking.
It stings now, but it'll feel better later.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Well, you seem like you're in pain. That's probably because it's stinging you. And yes, you sneeze too.
Yes, I learned that.
It'll feel better later.
Winnie and Ronaldo, as Gregory is getting the Forest Revenant heal, you are kind of bathing Sister Ix in music, and she eventually kind of wakes back up. One of the branches of one of these things, as horrible as it looks, kind of snuck up under her ribcage. And so you kind of sing and kind of treat, and eventually you're able to stabilize her. But she's moving slow. You do get up though, and you make it into the tower. And mercifully, it looks like those 6 were the only ones. That is to say, though, the inside of this tower is an absolute mess. It looks like the tower has been abandoned for a century and nature took it back, which is pretty shocking considering that someone was here a year or 2 ago at most. It looks like these dryads were driven by some kind of purpose that is tricky to discern, but it looks like they made their way through here and did some pretty remarkable damage. That said, though, let's see if you can actually get what you came for. So I want whoever's feeling lucky to roll either 2d6 plus dexterity or 2d6 plus wisdom. Dealer's choice.
I can take that one.
Go for it. Vil, roll it.
Can I have Hobie's help as well with this?
You definitely can.
Fantastic. Wonderful. That's going to be a 10.
Fantastic. So, Hobie, you and Hobie have, this connection that surpasses any other connection that anyone else knows of. It's just you are 2 halves of one whole when you work together on something. And what's interesting is, it's as if Vil is kind of leading you through a multi-story forest. So it kind of makes sense that the Forest Revenant is leading a room-by-room search of a building. You kind of get three things here. The first one is knowledge. What you find is there is a book from one of the monks that was locked away in a room, that the very last page is a frantic description of some sort of wizard raising dryads from the woods and sending them against this. So there is some rogue natural sorcerer that's somewhere here that has caused this, apparently 6 months ago.
Good, another evil wizard. Great.
Yeah, it's your apprehension regarding magic is entirely well-founded, Gregory. Every time there's a story like this, it's that magic is somehow at the end of it. But yeah, the monks, you kind of get a sense, Phil, were trying to figure out who was doing this and why, but before they were able to figure it out, I mean, this is a peaceful order, and they were just overwhelmed. Those of them that could escape, escaped, and those that didn't tried to seal up the reliquary, and and it looks like they died here. So but it's everything in here is just fully overwhelmed. But there isn't the smell of rotting food or anything. It looks literally like everything that was made of wood, anything that was food, anything that was organic, essentially everything but the stone has been just absorbed into this wild menagerie of plant growth. You make it up to the top floor, at times having to climb because the stairs have been eaten away. And eventually you get to the very top floor, which it does in fact have this reliquary in it. It's kind of this room in a corner, iron walls, heavy metal door, great big lock in the middle of it. But this is the place. Sister Ix kind of thinks for a moment and says, "This can't be opened with a key. That's all I know."
What can
Be
it?
open with a me. Let's bend this ass.
Yes, thank you, Gregory. This is your turn.
All right, 2d6 plus your strength.
6.
Okay, you make an awful mess of this thing.
Oh,
But it stays closed. This is a very, very well-made reliquary.
harder, Gregory. Can you hit it harder? I think you're going to need to hit it harder.
I can hit it harder.
Well, try hitting it harder, please.
I look for a switch or a false way to open it, some sort of trick lock that's meant to throw off people.
Gregory, I think you need to hit it harder.
No, it's magic chicanery.
Ronaldo, 2d6 plus your wisdom. I'll give you a +1. I like this.
If you're not strong enough, you can just tell us that you're not strong enough to open the door. It's okay.
7.
All right, I'll say that's enough. So while Vil is extolling Gregory to use his strength,
I have to spend some time on this.
yeah, Ronaldo, you kind of light a torch, burn off some overgrowth, and you realize this is essentially a room-sized puzzle box.
Mm-hmm.
And you find a secondary set of levers and hinges. And after kind of a minute of fiddling around, you hear this big kind of pressure.
They're actually a lot like dwarves. They focus on craft, so they get very good. I suppose this one must have specialized in what?
Must have. Oh, wow. It looks like Ronaldo was strong enough to open the door. Thank you, Ronaldo.
Thank you for recognizing the strength of my mind.
Ronaldo, maybe later I could feel your muscles.
Oh, what? Sure.
I just am so impressed that you could open this door.
My muscles are so huge.
If you want to stick your fingers up his nose and into his brain, sure, go for it, Bill.
That I would like to see.
Just no sneeze grass or whatever, please.
There is always sneeze grass
No.
on my hands, Ronaldo. You know that.
No.
The reliquary looks very empty. It's a room the size of kind of a small office, with lots of shelves and chests. All of them look like they were opened. Not tossed about or anything. It looks like there was kind of an orderly removal of some of the items. Looks like a lot of texts, but there are two things still in here. One of them, it's kind of held on the wall by essentially like a magical lock that Sister Ix is able to kind of work her way through, is the Gleaning Mirror, which is this metal platter probably 2 feet across that she says this has to be it.
It's big. It's bigger than I thought it was.
Would that it help us see better? And she puts that away. And the other thing, Ronaldo, hanging on the wall is a rapier.
Oh,
In a scabbard, with a note hanging from it.
Well, who are you, gorgeous? Let me see this. I open it and I start to read it.
Should this reliquary be lost, may anyone who finds it use this sword to seek its revenge.
Another vow. I crumple it up, throw it, and take the rapier.
You draw it, and yours is probably better made. Like yours has like filigree and it's very beautiful looking. This one looks like a perfectly serviceable rapier.
It's not very showy.
Not showy at all. The blade, in fact, doesn't even look that sharp. It's not nicked or notched or anything, which is good. And you touch it, and you're like, okay, how sharp is this? And you burn your finger very badly, and it starts to...
Oh, I have something for that.
No, it was a real small burn. It's a very tiny burn.
It smells awful even before she uncorks it.
You're going to want this one.
No, I'm not.
It's
I know. I've
specifically
never.
for burns.
I hate the burn.
2 swords, Ronaldo. I knew a man in the Legion who liked to use 2 swords.
Oh, well, I'm not quite used to using 2, but I'm willing to give it a shot. It's
You
just
got run through with an elephant tusk.
that's why I was. Oh, well.
The longer the sword stays unsheathed, Ronaldo, you realize the hotter it gets, to the point where the very tip of its blade and the entire front edge is now glowing red hot.
Fun. Now it looks very impressive.
You should achieve that.
So Ronaldo, you now have a dueling rapier that does 1d8 damage, and also on a full success lights things on fire.
Ooh, exciting.
Well, that
Yeah.
is useful.
And so with that, we will end on a bit of a cutscene. Back in Tower Town, Archmage Akka is addressing in kind of a big open field 100 silver helmets. The kind of the magical fighting force of Tower Town. And Archmage Akka is looking at all of them and says, well, the weeks and months to come will be very challenging for us, Silver Helmets. And I know you miss your previous commander, Spitzfoot, but until he is returned, I am going to use you all to the full extent of your capabilities. Tower Town is under threat, and you are the bulwark against that threat. What I ask between now and the end of all of this is for you to put your faith in me. I believe that when all is said and done, we will not only be fighting things that are clearly enemies, but things we have once perceived as friends. And I need you to be resolute in your defense of Tower Town. Until I have further orders, rest, train, and I will see you soon. My officers with me in the tent, and 2 of the silver helmets follow Archmage Akka into a command tent, and they walk in and they close the door the door flap behind them. Archmage Akka says, well, there we have it then. I think we are doing everything we need to do for the defense of this city. And the two officers remove their helmets. There are now 3 Archmage Akkas in this tent. And they nod and say, yes, we agree, Captain. Very, very good leadership indeed. And so we're going to end it right there.
Too many Akkas.
Too many Akkas. That's
Akka 1, Akka 2, Akka 3.
Oh God.
But that's what happens when a wizard makes a clone of himself, and then those clones make clones. Yeah.
I'm curious if the fact that Chauncey brought him back is what his involvement is in this calamity.
Maybe.
No. Or is it something yet to be discovered? Tune in next week.
Tune in next week to see.
I feel like column A, column B. Like,
How many silver helmets are there? How 100?
There are 100 all trained battle mages. So
fun.
They're serious. They're as Tower Town has a very. Here's some deep lore for everybody. All the other big city states have a standing army of like several thousand people, mercenaries and recruits and stuff. Tower Town's fighting force is these 100 people.
Damn.
And they are a match for any other standing army in the Riverlands. So one of those things where if you go through the Arcane College and then through essentially graduate school, you might be able to
be a silver helmet.
Folks. Yeah, be a silver helmet.
Is
It's
that
a
for
union
each of us?
job. They got a great pension.
Oh boy.
So yeah, well, hey everybody, good work. You got a very important artifact, and now there's a cool burning sword that Ronaldo.
Randy Hot Sword over there.
Yeah.
Baby hot sword.
That's me.
So it goes. But all right, everybody, very, very good stuff. And for those of you watching at home or wherever it is you're watching, or those of you listening to this on a podcast sometime in the future, thank you so much for tuning in and stopping by. We are the Knights of Prospect. We are here at 2MB Studios every Saturday night at 8 Eastern Time. It is what you see is 4 of the 8 adventurers. Every week is a different collection of adventurers. So our shows are fun and different for a variety of reasons, including a rotating cast.
Yay.
If you like what you see here and you say, boy, I sure do like watching comedy on Twitch, may we recommend following or even subscribing to 2MB Studios. There are comedy shows of all types 7 days a week. It is really, really awesome. They're all really good. There are game shows. There are talk shows. There's an entire wrestling league with lore that is, dare I say, even deeper than the Knights of Prospect. Deep lore.
Gregory almost won a match in that on first.
The lore is so deep that this lore is connected to
I was
that
beaten
lore.
by the head of the network.
The only person capable of it. Also, if you like this kind of improvising where you use a lot of improv to kind of create stories in real time, may I recommend going to the website 3weeks.courses. That's the number 3 weeks.courses. It's right there on the screen. You can learn how to use improv in role-playing games like this, as well as a number of other wonderful skills in terms of wellness, financial health, career advice. 3weeks.courses is a great organization that we like to partner with. Please go to their website and see what you could learn in 3 weeks. Until next time, everybody, thanks for stopping by and adventuring with us, and we will see you all soon.